United in the Europa League. Europa League. Me tell them one time and we say Europa.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Welcome back to another press conference reaction here. Real Betis versus Manchester United. That's what we're talking about. Erik ten Hag and Lisandro Martinez were out in Spain answering all of the questions of the assembled media ahead of tomorrow's Europa League round of 16 second leg clash. Of course, United bring in a 4-1 win on aggregate last week. They bring a lead in of 4-1. We should probably say that. That sounds a bit better and grammatically correct as well. And my, oh my, we have a really jam-packed show that I'm going to do my very best to pack into about 45 minutes here. We have got, I think, like 18 clips to get into in the next 45 minutes or so. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As I mentioned, there is a lot. There's a lot happening. There's a lot going up today. If you haven't seen it already, there's the match preview with Flex. There's Flex inside Real Betis' stadium, the Benito Villamarin Stadium, and they had the guided tour and everything like that. It's an excellent video. So if you haven't checked out, be sure to do that. You can join the members club too. Links in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the chat as well. So yes, there is a lot going on. Let's start off first with Flex's question. Before we get into any of the other questions, any of the other reactions, any of the other answers, or anything like that, let's get into Flex's question first, because of course, as I mentioned, Flex was in the press conference as well, and Flex asked to Lisandro Martinez. He asked about what it was like playing with Rafael Varane and what it was like developing a relationship with him, chemistry with him in the centre-back partnership. Here's Flex's question and Lisandro Martinez's answer as well.
Hi, Lisandro. You've won the World Cup now, as has Rafael Varane, and together at Manchester United, you've now won the Carabao Cup. What's it like playing with him, and what do you guys think you need to do to get to that next level and continue to be, perfect partnership?
Well, Rafa is an amazing player, and I really enjoy and I'm improved to play with him. We always enjoy to also in the trainings, but the good thing is the working hard. I think we are doing an amazing job, but we have in the back also Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire. They are always ready. I'm happy because that we have really good connection, and when you have that player, when you have that connection, you can have clean sheets and you can play short in the back.
It's interesting, actually, Lisandro Martinez, because, of course, the player that sits beside the manager in these press conferences tends to play. So one would think that Lisandro Martinez is going to play tomorrow. Obviously, when it comes to Rafael Varane playing tomorrow, probably unlikely, considering the scoreline and considering other games coming up, considering the schedule, etc. You would think it's pretty unlikely when it comes to that. But at the same time, it's interesting, his comments there when he was talking about playing alongside Rafael Varane, and interesting that straight away he mentioned, well, obviously I play with Victor Lindelof and Maguire. They're always ready too, but kind of saying, I'm basically, we're the 1 and 2, we're the first partnership, and it's true. He was happy that they have this really good connection, which again they do. And when you have that connection, when you have that chemistry, you have clean sheets, which is also true. I mean, no disrespect to Maguire or Lindelof, but talk about an upgrade. Just a couple of seasons ago, we were talking about Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof being the regular centre-back pairing. Now we're talking about Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez. Talk about two elite-level centre-backs, World Cup winning centre-backs. They've won trophies elsewhere as well. They've now won trophies at Manchester United too. So I think it was interesting to hear him talk about his relationship with Rafael Varane, certainly. And as Ten Hag does say later on in the press conference too, he's going to play his strongest side. So Martinez is playing when it comes to Varane. Sometimes he has been rested in these kind of games recently as well. So we'll have to wait and see when it comes to that. And Blue Dabba Dabba says, I don't like that Fleck was all up in the stadium touching everything possible. Wow. Yes, if you want to see indeed what Fleck touched and did not touch, you can check that out on that video. But, he can say it doesn't bother him. We all know the truth. It certainly indeed does bother One Flexington. Let's get into the next few questions, actually, because as I said, there's a lot to get into in the next 45 minutes or so. So the first question was about Alejandro Garnacho. An update on him. Of course, he confirmed yesterday via his Instagram that he's out for the upcoming games. The question was put to Ten Hag. What is the severity of the injury? How long is he going to be out for? When can we see him possibly return to action for Manchester United? Here's what the Manchester United manager had to say regarding Garnacho's injury and possible return and recovery.
I can't say exactly in this moment, but it will take weeks. So it's a serious injury, didn't expect, but a fall, serious injury once again after Christian Eriksen, with a serious injury after contact.
It's funny, actually, because I was going to mention this at the top of the stream here, that Erik ten Hag, and you'll probably see this as the press conference goes on, he was a little bit prickly. He was bullish, shall we say? Maybe that's the best way to put it. Some of the questions... Maybe that it wasn't necessarily the questions. To be fair, some of the questions were probably annoying him. I think you can tell he's still incredibly frustrated with the officiating, as he should be, as we all are, regarding some of the decisions over the weekend, and also just the decisions when it comes to over the season for Manchester United as well. I mean, he mentioned it there, when it came to the injury to Alejandro Garnacho, basically saying that's not the first time this season we've lost a player because of a bad tackle. When are the referees going to do something about that? Bear in mind that when these players have made these tackles on our players that have resulted in injury, and that's what they're always checking out for, right? When it comes to dangerous play, is he endangering the opponent? Well, it's endangered our players, so they have endangered the opponent. Was there a booking for Andy Carroll? Was there a booking for the player at the weekend? There was not. There was not any cards for any of the players, and we're the ones that suffer because of it. And I think Ten Hag's pointing that out there. He says it later on. We have the injuries and the red cards. That seems particularly fair, doesn't it? You know, it's just... And the thing is, and this is what's crazy about this as a manager, because Sir Alex Ferguson did it, Jurgen Klopp does it to this day, and it pays off for them. Sometimes... And this is how backwards football is. Sometimes you have to go out in the media, in your press conferences, criticise referees, put pressure on, and then when you do, you end up getting decisions. How crazy is that? How about the referees are just consistent? How about the referees just get the decisions right? It's not as if now they have one look at it and that's it, and it happens so quickly. They have multiple looks at it. They've got multiple eyes looking at it. They've got different camera angles, and they still get it wrong. And there is still no consistency. And I understand we're talking about, you know, a situation whereby, look, some of it's interpretation, handballs, whether it is handball or isn't handball. One ref may think it's handball in their interpretation of the law. Another ref may not. Okay. But we're also talking about players that have factually been injured and they didn't get carded. And yet our player will go in to make a tackle, doesn't injure the player, right? And I don't think endangers the opponent, yet straight red. Or even if it's a booking, check it, he could have hurt him. He could have killed him. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous when it comes to referees, and he's a right to be annoyed about it. Now, another person that looks like they're not going to be involved, well, they're not going to be involved because they didn't travel, is Antony. Now, Antony did not travel with the squad. He did not train today either, and it had been reported that was due to illness. He was asked about that, Erik ten Hag, in the press conference, the extent of Antony's absence, and because of the absence, could we see Facundo starting in his place on Thursday?
Just on Antony, what's the extent of his, why is he absent? Is he unwell, injured?
Yes, illness.
And given the absence of those two players, with Pellistri and his opportunity now, is he likely to get a start because he's had some substitute appearances, but he's not actually started a game for United yet?
We will see tomorrow, but we have some options, of course. We have Sancho, we have Elanga, we have Bruno. So we have several options, but Pella is definitely also one, and he's doing really well lately when he came on.
I would like to see Facundo Pellistri to start tomorrow. I was actually chatting to Flex about this off air earlier today. And what do you guys think? Do you think he'll start? I mean, my feeling is that he might go with Sancho on the right-hand side, and he'll play Rashford, Bruno, Sancho. I'd be pleasantly surprised if he put Pellistri on the right and started him his cameos recently, I think he deserves it. I think he deserves a shot. I think perfect situation and circumstances, really. Yes, it's a Europa League round of 16 game, second leg, the business end, getting towards the business end of the competition. But in reality, you're 4-1 up. You're saying you're going to put Palestri in and we're going to completely tank and we're going to concede all of these goals? I think he's probably earned it with the cameos he's done recently. That's not to say that he'll play the whole game, but I just don't see Ten Hag doing it, honestly. My feeling is that he wouldn't. My feeling is that he'll still try and go as strong as possible. My feeling is that he'll go with Sancho. He did mention it there. We've got other options. We've got Sancho. We've got Elanga. We've got Bruno. I don't really care to see Bruno on the right or left for the time being now. I think we've had our fill of that for those particular games, and it did work. But at the same time, he's far more effective going through the middle. And he's also got to be quite cautious tomorrow because he is on a booking. And when you're tracking back and you're trying to stop counterattacks and you're doing more defensive work on the flanks, you might maybe be more open to getting a booking or a caution. So my feeling is that Palestri won't start and he'll probably be Sancho. And I think he might look for, that's not to say Palestri won't come on, because I could see Palestri coming on tomorrow. But I think we could see a situation whereby for 45 minutes, Ten Hag goes as strong as possible, wants to go 1-0 up, get a goal, and then it's like, right, half-time, really make the changes, then bring Palestri on, and maybe he comes into a bit more of an open game with less pressure, and once again, he thrives and has an impressive cameo. That might be the direction that he goes in. But I just don't know if I see him starting. Just Kevin says, I don't think he'll start. Star-Lord, one of our mods and long-time members, the original member, says Erik ten Hag goes strong first. Paul Lucas says Leach looked like he wanted to butcher some pundits. He was proper frowning. He was worse than me. He was like this. And his English is very good. It might just be, look, sometimes accents, people talking fast, a second language, third language, whatever it is for Leacher, for the butcher of Manchester. You might have just been struggling to understand, or these press conferences, they can be a pain in the ass as well to do. I mean, if a player, so the last thing you really want to do is talk to a room full of journalists the day before. But, I thought he did a very good job. And I thought Ten Hag, he always does a good job in these press conferences as well. Next question was about bookings. Now, we go into tomorrow with Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes, or as Paolo would say, Bruno Fernandes, not bad, on a booking. And if they get booked, they will miss the first leg of the quarterfinals if Manchester United do get there. So given the concern about Casemiro and Bruno, remember Casemiro has missed games not just by red card suspensions but by accumulation of yellow cards as well this season. Given the scoreline of 4-1, could we see them start on the bench? Do you risk them? And Erik ten Hag was bullish in his response.
No, they will play both because it's a very good opponent. Last week we had a good result, but we have to go again. Then you need your best players because we need a result, we need a win. So then we need our best team.
We need our best team, so Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro are going to start tomorrow. So already you're starting to see this picture of a team building up, and it's a pretty strong picture that Erik ten Hag is going to paint, seemingly. You've got Lisandro Martinez, he's there in the press conference, so he's starting. You've got Casemiro, you've got Bruno Fernandes, you've got David De Gea starting in goal. It's going to be strong. He's kind of laid out, in my opinion, what his mindset is going into it, and it's not a revelation. Really, Erik ten Hag's done this all season. That's why we're in all of these competitions that we're still in. He wants to win every single game. That's all he wants to do. And it's not even, like sometimes managers and football players say, well, we just take it game by game and we want to win every single game. That's our plan. That's our philosophy. It's the real deal with Erik ten Hag. Sometimes maybe, and we'll see what happens come the end of the season, but it maybe to the detriment of some of the United players when it comes to fatigue, both mental and physical. But he legitimately wants to win every single game, legitimately wants to win every single competition. He doesn't prioritize one over the other. He takes it all very, very seriously, and he doesn't care if you've played 3 or 4 days ago. I want my strongest team to play, even if I'm 4-1 up. Even if I'm basically through to the next round and I've got a 3-goal lead and something dramatic or catastrophic would have to happen for us to go out, he still wants to play our strongest side. One, because that's his mentality and his philosophy. But two, I think he's conscious that's how you build momentum. Coming out of the World Cup, how did we build that momentum? We played in several cup competitions against, let's face it, lesser opponents, even lower league opponents. And he played a strong side every single time. And it did translate over to the Premier League, because we got big results because of it, because we started to build momentum and a winning mentality. And I think he's probably aware that, and even, let's say we go through tomorrow, but we lose 2-0 or 2-1. I think he'd be aware that, yeah, you're through and it's about moving on to the next game. But at the same time, people would still be saying, hey, it's another loss. You did lose the game. You didn't lose the tie. But what does that really say? What's that really? Is that going to rub off on some of the players? Are the players going to start thinking, yeah, we got through, but, we weren't that great. And we are actually, now you say it, I am quite tired. If you're winning games, that fatigue, but again, both mental and physical, you don't feel it. You're like, I feel invincible at the moment. I'm unstoppable. I'm winning games. It doesn't matter. So I think, look, clearly he's going to play his strongest side possible. There might be some surprises, i.e. Falestri, imagine, Bruno and Facundo. Falestri, maybe Palestri might start, but I don't even see that, honestly. I think he's just going to go with the strongest team possible. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes. Not even 100 likes yet. We can get to 150 as well. Let's get to another question and another clip and another response from the Manchester United manager. The question was put to Erik ten Hag about Alejandro Garnacho staying on after the injury. He did stay on for a little bit, didn't he, after that tackle? The question was to Ten Hag, what was the process there? Were you unhappy with the tackle? What were your thoughts? And here's what Ten Hag said.
Oh, it was a scissor, as they call it. And so it's not a good decision after all. It's difficult to make a diagnosis that quickly, but I saw him limping, and that's why I took him off also, because it was my last opportunity to sub and to bring H on as well.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird question, this one, because I think the implication was, well, Garnacho's out for all of these weeks. Why didn't you take him off at the time? And clearly the answer is, well, I didn't know. I didn't know how bad it was. You can't diagnose things immediately like that. I mean, if he's got a broken leg or if he's done his cruciates, he's not really walking. And you go, well, I've got to take him off. He's going to have to be stretchered off. If the player gets up and is limping around, sometimes they can play on. Go back to the Manchester derby and Marcus Rashford when he went down. He went down after, 30 minutes, and he was on the floor and he was going my back or my hip or whatever it was. I remember being in the studio at the time. We were all saying, take him off. He's done. Even at the beginning of the second half, he was sort of walking around a little bit and you said, I don't know if he's really, how's he doing? Is he still in shape? Like, is he going to get through this game? He ended up scoring the winner. So, I don't blame Ten Hag for that. The player felt he'd give it a go. It didn't work out for him. He did come off eventually, and now he's out for 6 weeks. But that's not on the manager or anything like that. That's on the tackle. As Ten Hag says, it's a scissor tackle. And how that didn't get any form of a card, to me, I think is ludicrous. I think it really is. I think it's nonsense. And don't even get me started on referees, because we've got plenty to get into when it comes to referees in this press conference reaction stream, certainly. Next question was to Lisandro Martinez, and I guess it's a pertinent question, especially now with these midfield absences that we have. Casemiro's suspension, Christian Eriksen's injury. Sabitz has just come back into training today, but could we see Lisandro Martinez play in midfield for United? He had done previously in his career for Ajax, so could we see that happen in Manchester?
Well, we have many good midfielders. Like I said, always in many interviews, I will play where the coach want to use me, so I will be always.
I think a lot of us have been saying for a while that Lisandro Martinez as a CDM wouldn't be terrible. It wouldn't. I think maybe the conversation has pivoted slightly, because that conversation was when Luke Shaw was doing really, really, really well at centre-back. And it was like, I tell you what, actually, maybe it's Shaw at centre-back with Varane, put Martinez in there, and then you've really got a tenacious player in midfield, but can also carry the ball out of the defence. There's a link there. That could be something really special. As of right now, we're not talking so much about Shaw at centre-back. We're really actually talking about Shaw looking quite fatigued and tired. That is one person that I don't think will play tomorrow either. I think Malacia should probably start because I think Shaw has looked tired. He had a fitness test against Liverpool before that game and he still has looked a bit fatigued. We could see Martinez, of course, start in midfield, especially maybe not tomorrow, but in the coming weeks as we have these games with these absences of Casemiro being suspended. But, I mean, one would think probably at the weekend it's probably going to be Sabitzer and Fred. And you've still got McTominay. So there are still options. He can play in that position. But Ten Hag also likes to test things. And he hasn't really tested that as of right now at Manchester United. So I don't think we'll see that tomorrow. Maybe in the future, anything certainly is possible. VK with the super chat says, I will be shocked if Ten Hag plays Casemiro. You use this game to find the pivot for the next 4 games instead. I mean, I appreciate the contribution as always, VK, long-time supporter, member, moderator of the channel. I disagree. I think it's going to be a case of this is the last game time that Casemiro is going to get for a while, and he's going to try his very best to keep having some rhythm. Obviously, he'll play on international duty with Brazil too. The main reason I would think that he wouldn't play him was because of the booking, but he did it before against Palace earlier on the season. Granted, he got booked, which was a concern. So, now I still think he starts. I mean, he said it. He said that Casemiro is going to start. So unless he's pulling some kind of swerve, I think that's unlikely. Next question was to Lisandro Martinez from Adam from United Stand. Big up Adam. Big up any fan channels. I always say it and I truly do mean it. Big up any fan channel, anyone that gets to ask a question outside of, traditional media, as it were, in these press conferences, because it's always breaking down barriers. It's always getting different perspectives on things, and it's traditional media versus new media, really, isn't it? And the media landscape is always evolving. So his question to Lisandro Martinez was about having a connection with the Manchester United fans and how important is it to keep his performance level high with all of the support he's had from the fan base so far.
Yeah, for sure it's important, and football is about it. I think football is passion, is to play with the heart, and yeah, we have that connection with the people, but we have to keep going, and we have to keep with that connection.
Now, we always hear, don't we, when it comes to Lisandro Martinez, the fans chant, Argentina, Argentina. And he was asked in a follow-up question by Adam, how great is it to hear the Manchester United fans chant your name or chant, your nickname, the Butcher? And Martinez, as one would expect, said it was very emotional for him.
For sure, it's very emotional for me, because to come here to the best club in England, Manchester United, for me it's a dream. So, yeah, I'm so happy.
And he does have that kind of connection, doesn't he, Lisandro Martinez, with the Manchester United faithful. And you know what? I was thinking, where does that stem from? And it just stems from him having that, it's so cliche, and I hate saying passion and desire after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, after hearing those words over and over again. But it's true. That's where it stems from. I think Manchester United fans appreciate people putting in work, and people where you can tell that that they care and it matters to them, and you can tell it matters to Lisandro Martinez. We like a fighter, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself here, but I think people appreciate a fighter. They appreciate someone overcoming adversity, which he did when he came to England as well. All of those people in the media saying he was too short to be a centre back, he's this, that, and the other. Since then, he's won a World Cup and a domestic trophy, and I think we appreciate that, and you appreciate. Particularly at the beginning of the season where we weren't complete, and we're still not complete as well, but particularly at the beginning of the season where we needed fighters to get through those difficult moments, and he showed that he's a fighter, and I think fans appreciate that. Certainly I do as well, and he gets it. He understands the aggression and the passion required to be a Manchester United player and a Manchester United centre-back. The next question to Erik ten Hag was, are there going to be any changes when it comes to tactics, especially with that 4-1 lead? Are we going to see any changes tomorrow night when it comes to team selection or tactics or anything like that?
It's always serious, and we will play our best team, and definitely we have to put up a team what can adapt during the game, and we know our opponent can, because they have a good team, they have really good players, so they have a lot of variations. So we have to be aware of that, and we have to be ready to go and battle with it.
So, as he kind of said earlier on, when it comes to his team selection and the opposition tomorrow, he's taking it very, very seriously. He's not playing around. So, the idea that he's going to change things, the idea that he's going to rest players, rotate players, it just ain't happening. Like, it's just, he's just not going to do it because that isn't what he's done so far. And, you know, he respects the opposition too much. And also as well, thinking back to earlier on this season, and you know, when we talk about rotation, I mean, there will be some changes, I think, from the weekend. He's not going to play the same starting 11, put it that way. Like I said, I think we might see, you know, Martinez and maybe it will be Maguire, or maybe it'll be Martinez and Lindelof, and I think we might see Malacia instead at left back. But I don't think there'll be wholesale changes. When he did have to, or when he did attempt to rotate significantly earlier on this season, it didn't work out for him, really. And he saw performance levels actually drop off quite significantly. And I think he might have learned his lesson when it came to that of, I'm just not willing to do that. Not at this stage. And especially when you've seen your team lose by a big margins earlier this season, it's not as if, you know, if we to lose tomorrow in terms of normal time and extra time, it could go to penalties, of course. But if we were to lose in terms of normal time or extra time, they'd have to score 4 goals. There'd have to be a 4-goal swing. But that's not as if Manchester United haven't conceded 4 goals in a game before this season. We're just coming off the back of conceding 7. So it's not as if he's got this mindset of, well, we ain't going to concede that many goals. He's like, well, we've done it a few times. So he wants that security. That's all he wants. So because of that, he's taking it very seriously and he's playing the strongest team possible. And again, I don't particularly blame him for that, to be honest with you. Again, considering what's happened in recent weeks. The next question to Ten Hag was Garnacho and Eriksen. Of course, they're missing. They're injured because of dangerous tackles. You've spoken about inconsistencies. Is that something you want to see addressed when it comes to the referees? And have you approached the Premier League regarding the inconsistent decisions that you've received this season?
We have the injuries and we have the red cards. So, what is the combination?
Is it not something you've approached them about in particular?
Oh, we have had some talks with them, yeah, but it's not about the referee. It's about us, and we have to bring our performance, and we have to focus on that.
I mean, look, he's right. Obviously, look, you have to focus on yourself. You have to focus on your own performance. If you're worrying too much about the referees, you can take your eye off the ball and who knows what could happen, right? But there is always going to be something in the back of your head that's going, or at least there's a mindset, one would think, right? Of, okay, we're taking care of ourselves. We're focusing on our own performance. It's a given the referees are going to get the majority of their decisions right, isn't it? And it's not. You have to worry about what they're going to do so many times. And I thought this was going to be the thing with VAR, that it took that kind of worry out of it, whereby when a tackle happens in the box or a handball happens in the box or anything like that, and then they show the replay on television, you go, that's a penalty or that's a red card. In your mind, you went, well, VAR's around now. Thank God they're going to see it. Thank God they're going to figure it out. And when you hear from the broadcaster, or if you're in the stadium when you just hear nothing of, yeah, check complete, or hear nothing, you look around. John Travolta, I've done this before, when you go, like, are they seeing something that we're not? And then you get the referees on the TV come on, go, yep, right decision. Like I saw, what's his name, Dermot Gallagher, come on Sky Sports on Monday, go, it's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life. It's not a handball when it comes to the penalty. He clearly tries to move his arm away from the ball because he goes like this. No, because the ball hit his arm and he goes, shit, I've just handled the ball in the box. I'm going to fling my arm away from it. That's even more obvious. So that's why VAR doesn't work as well, because it's not about getting decisions correct. It's about protecting their own. And that's why it seems really suspicious, doesn't it, that you never hear anything when it comes to what are the conversations happening in a VAR room. You don't hear them. And because maybe it's like, well, heaven forbid they turn the mic on and they hear us going, well, I don't know. I don't know. You know, it's just... And the thing is, when they said, they asked Ten Hag, have you spoken to the Premier League? Yeah, we've spoken to the Premier League. What's it going to do? What change is that really going to make? And I find it crazy too that you see fans talking about it and you see managers talking about it and they go, oh, look at United. Look at United fans or look at the United manager or the United players complaining about referees. Just get the job done on the pitch. And I've said this before and I will say it again, even when as a neutral I'm watching games, like for instance tonight, Liverpool, Real Madrid, if Liverpool get a decision that doesn't go in their favour and it's a wrong decision, obviously I'll laugh, but I'll also think, man, that's bad because that can and will happen to us. That will happen to us at some point. That's why it worried me when Chelsea played West Ham and it was a clear handball and they didn't give it. And everyone with eyes could see that that was a handball. It should worry you because you should say, that's going to happen to us. And to people that have that bullshit response when they go, well, they even themselves out. What kind of excuse is that? What kind of excuse is they even themselves out so it's okay? Oh yeah, we should just accept people making bad decisions. We should accept people being bad at their job because, oh, they're so rubbish that they'll be rubbish for someone else eventually. So it's okay. What? That wouldn't work. That wouldn't fly in any other profession. It balances out. Why didn't you catch that shoplifter? Well, one day I will catch one. So it balances out, basically. Come on. That's such rubbish. And again, when it's no VAR and it's just referee in the middle of the pitch and they've got a split second to figure it out, then it is human error. And then you do go, well, they're only human. But there's machines involved. There's machines involved in this. And they still get it wrong. Oh, my goodness me. And yeah, talk to the Premier League and they'll go, yeah, well, we're working on it. Howard Webb, we're peeling back the curtain. Of what? It's like in The Wizard of Oz. You peel back the curtain. Nobody's there. Nobody's there behind it. And the person that is there is a charlatan. It's crazy. Now, back to Alejandro Garnacho's injury. Ten Hag was asked how difficult this has been for the young player, considering he was about to get, he was called up to the Argentinian national squad, and now he's not going to play those games.
Of course, it's difficult. He makes great progression. And he was selected by a national team, nations. And it was a big moment for him. And he's in a really good development. And you don't want to disturb that process. And now, you have to step away from it. But he will be back for the end of the season. So what he now has to do is deal with it, deal with the setback, and then work, invest to get back before the end of the season, because in this season we can win a lot. So he has to be ready to get back as soon as possible.
Indeed, to get back as soon as possible. Mike here says, United View, me, can you big up Mina and Marcel? Indeed, I can. They were live this morning, 9 a.m., the latest episode of The Red Room. You can check that out. They did an excellent job, as always. So if you haven't already checked that out, as I said earlier on, there's a lot going on today. There's obviously this press conference reaction. There's the preview. There's Flex inside the Real Betis Stadium. There's the Red Room. There's so much going on now. So if you haven't already, subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Click the notification bell. You'll be notified whenever there's a live stream, whenever a new video goes up, and you don't have to miss a single thing. So there you go. What are you guys saying as well? Emma, one of our members, says, clubs need to band together and talk to the FA and potentially threaten lawsuits. Then they'll step up. The refs are literally deciding winners and the relegated. Well, I don't know if they'll do lawsuits or anything like that. But to be fair, I did see, when was it? This was a while ago. I remember a team got relegated and they threatened to do a lawsuit. But I think that was about something else. That was about the West Ham Tevez Mascherano thing, I think, wasn't it? Chelsea says, Owen, I will watch you feel bad when decisions go your way. I mean, I'm not going to feel bad, obviously, but I've never, I will never see, for instance, if a decision does go our way, I'll be the first to say that's the wrong decision. They shouldn't have got that. We got away with one. We've got lucky. I've said that this season, Jen, that we got away with one. We got lucky. And it just goes to show, and you just kind of roll your eyes and laugh when they do that, because you say, like, they can't do it. Like, again, even with the offside goal against Man City in the derby, of course I celebrate it. You know, it got us back in the game, a game that we eventually won. But when referees come out a few weeks later and go, yeah, we got that wrong, you know, you do look at City and go, well, that doesn't do them any good, does it? That doesn't help them. And it's not good enough. It's not. VK once again, a five-time. I wish I had my WWE soundboard in front of me, but I think I broke the stream yesterday when I used that. So I'll try and figure that out again for the future. But it's gifted 5 United for You memberships, 5 new members. Noz is the latest member. Give a Langer Time. I wonder what that account's about. Andre, James, and Chris were all gifted members by VK. So big up VK as always. 5-time. You can all use your new emojis. All those new members can use your emojis. Fill up the chat with the emojis as always. The next question to Ten Hag was that you obviously we've had a very busy schedule in all of these competitions. We've got the Europa League, we've got the Premier League, we've got the FA Cup, Carabao Cup's just finished, but that was part of the busy schedule that we've had post World Cup. Will you prioritise, was it the Premier League over this competition in the future? And as you would expect, Ten Hag, he's not prioritising any competition over the other. He believes we've got the squad to manage with it.
I think we can manage. We have players that can recover good between games. So we do that very careful. I'm in continually contact with medical, with performance. So what a player can handle. Also, we have a lot of positions. We are double there, so we can mix it. So we can, when we are going to the final stage of the season, we can play our best team.
I mean, that noise, by the way, at the end, I don't know what that was. But when he's saying that we can manage, we can just about manage. It's starting to take a toll, clearly. You know, some of the injuries haven't really been, in fairness, some of the injuries haven't really been fatigue injuries. You know, you look at Eriksen, you look at Garnacho, they're bad tackles. We do, it's not necessarily even the physical fatigue as well. I think it's just mentally. Like, you could see it against Southampton, even before the red card. We looked tired. We did look not fragile, but we did look lethargic maybe. But that's the price of success too, and I think that's what he'd be trying to say. You know, if you want to win trophies, you've got to put the work in. You've got to go through the pain barrier. You've got to go through, again, that exhaustion, and you've got to kind of brush it off and say, well, we go again. We play more games. We win more games. That is the price of success. Do we have the squad to cope for it? Hopefully, we'll be in a better position next season with another transfer window and more players that are more in keeping with what Erik ten Hag wants. But so far, we're dealing with it. But we're looking leggy, and I don't know if we can keep up this schedule. I mean, we've played every 3 or 4 days since the World Cup, so we're bordering on like 3 months of that just constant. And again, it's going to be interesting to see what players get called up for the relative international squads. How many people do get left behind? How many people even say to some of their countries, you know, I've done so much so far this season that I kind of really do need the time away to recover. That's going to be interesting too. But Ten Hag feels that we can cope, and he's going to keep playing the strongest team possible. The follow-up question was to Ten Hag about, he's been here now for 2/3 of the season, and the question was put to him, how short or how far away is the team from challenging for possibly the Premier League title? This one kind of came a bit out of nowhere.
I think we have made good progress, but also we have to acknowledge there's still a gap, and I couldn't expect that we close that gap that quickly. But what we want is we want to win every game, no matter which opponent. And I think all the games you have seen till now, I think that was our approach. We tried to win every game, and we beat also all the top teams. So we are capable to do it. But now, we have to make next step to do that in more dominant, more consistent. So we have some steps to take. But we know in this time we can do it.
And I think that's the key thing. I mean, Lord knows, we did not go into this season thinking that we were going to challenge for the title. And the fact that at certain points we were discussing, could we possibly not win it, but could we be involved in that conversation of, you know, being in a title race? I think that does go to show how far we have come in such a short period of time under Erik ten Hag. You would hope if we sign the right players in the key positions in the summer, i.e. a striker, more depth in the midfield, maybe another defender. People might say goalkeeper, but particularly, that striker and that midfielder, then maybe next season we'll be closer. As Ten Hag said, we've proven this season that we can beat big teams. I think that the next step is beating those big teams away from home. We haven't done that. That hasn't been good enough this season. When you look at the stat that we haven't beat a side in the top 11 away from home, that's a problem. That's an issue. That's a step that clearly we need to take. We've beaten all of the big teams at home. So we've proven that on our day we can do it. But we're still not totally consistent in terms of away from home, and we're still short in certain positions. And we've done it 2/3 of the season. The fact that we even were chatting about title races or anything like that without really a striker. Martial hasn't played 90 minutes. The Cristiano Ronaldo situation is what it is. We've got a 3 million emergency loan in January in Wout Weghorst. That goes to show what Erik ten Hag is doing. And frankly, if we do get a striker, that's when you would say, well, then we really do start to having more serious conversations in the summer. So I think we've made significant progress. And again, maybe we could challenge after another window. And that was the question put to him in just a second. Tabislow, one of the mods, long-time members as well, with a super chat, says, big up, Owen. Just wanted to give you a shout out. Give yourself a shout out, Tabislow. Big up yourself and big up all of the members. Big up all of the mods as well, too. Let's go to the next question. As I mentioned, we still got quite a few clips to get into. And the follow-up question about that was something I did touch on, was could we and should we be closer to challenging for the Premier League title after another transfer window in the summer?
Look, when you see the competition, and I also heard comments from other players, managers in the Premier League. The Premier League was never that difficult as now. So many competitors. It's not a 2-horse race. No, it's 5, 6, 7 horse races. So you have to be very good if you want to win that league. But we are aiming for that. But what we want, there are so 6, 7 clubs more. And they will invest and they will spend big money. And they have great managers, so they have great players. So it's a lot about details in the end, if you can win it. But as I said, we have beaten all the teams in the Premier League, so we are capable to do it. But also we are aware of it in the club, and I say also in the team, we are aware of it. We have some steps to go.
We have some steps to go, and I think that's something that's really important that he points out, and this is kind of something that I've been saying during the Full Views and some of the other shows we've been doing recently when we've been talking about striking options and options for the summer and the transfer window and things of that nature, is that we're not going to be the only club going in for these players in the summer. There are going to be plenty of teams in the Premier League, plenty of teams with resources in the Premier League and around Europe, but particularly the Premier League with the money that's in the league currently, that are going to be going for the same players that we are. There is, I say this all the time with transfer windows, there are a pool of players that are available. You know, they're always there. It's this select group of players. They're the ones that are available, and all of the clubs circle them. And to Ten Hag's point, they're going to be investing too. It's not like, even for instance, when if Qatar comes in, or Sir Jim Ratcliffe, or whoever it may be, I saw today there's like 3 or 4 parties that are private that we still don't know about, that could purchase Manchester United. Even if it was Qatar and they come in, like, it's also about the strategy, because during the time in which we're investing in the training ground and the stadium and in players and all that kind of stuff, the people across the city, they're going to be doing that as well. And people in the Premier League, they're going to be doing that as well. They're going to be doing that at Chelsea. They're going to be doing that at Arsenal. So it's not just going to get done in one window. You know, I think that's the important thing to say as well. So I think it's important that he points out the Premier League, it's tough. It's really, really tough, because everyone has big summers, and will be hopefully no different in the coming months. What an account this is. Owen Style Advisor says, more Owen, please. I miss you on the watch-alongs. Wow. If you're my style advisor, we've got to have some conversations, because clearly we haven't touched base for a while. Yes, but appreciate the contribution and appreciate the love and support as always. Next question to Ten Hag was, Eric, there's several injuries at the moment. Do you have any concerns about the depth in Manchester United squad? You could be a few injuries away from a crisis.
When you will see the whole season, we had some setbacks more, also shorted some players more. But every time we dealt with it. And it's about the players who are available, and every time there was a team on the pitch who dealt with it. But what it's true, I think, till now, I think we had only in one game, we had the squad available and totally, and we had only one game that I said, okay, now I can pick my team also from tactical approach. That was perfect, and it was against Man City home, and it was the only time this season. And other time, every time, of in every game, it's one player is suspended, one player is injured or illness. So we have to deal with it well. But of course, you hope, like see Arsenal, they almost have all the time their squad is in total is affected.
I mean, I kind of dispute that a little bit because they've had Gabriel Jesus, who was a key player for them, out for a while, and they've done fairly well. But I think it's a good point that he picks up, and it's something that we touched on, didn't we, just a few minutes ago, that we've got this far, that we were talking about title talks or title challenges, and we've won a trophy, and we're still in all these competitions. As he says, I haven't been able to name my total squad. I'll have my total squad available to me all season. Like, the only time I've been able to do that was Manchester City at home. Even then, Martial really wasn't available because he came off at half-time as well. So I think that goes to show, again, that the level of what he's done this season, Erik ten Hag. And I don't even think he considers, let's be honest, Phil Jones, Twanzebe, Brandon Williams, those guys part of the squad. Because Phil Jones is still technically out, injured. Twanzebe, is he even back? I don't know. And again, I think that goes to show how well he's done, and some of the dead wood needs to go in the summer, and that needs to be looked at. And imagine he did have a squad that was totally available. Imagine he did have a striker that was always going to play, a top level, high quality striker that was always going to play. It'd be a massive difference for him. And again, I think that's a credit to how well he's done and the work that he's done this season. The follow-up question to that was, now after bad results so far this season, you've gone on big runs. He was asked about playing Manchester City away from home. After that, he went on a big unbeaten run. Could we see the same after the game against Liverpool? Of course, we are unbeaten since then, a victory and a draw. Could we see the same possibly until the end of the season?
When you lost to City and you went on a long unbeaten run,
I talk about City home when we beat them.
Yeah.
I was talking about that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking about how you went on a long run. Can you see the team going on a similar run now until the end of the season? Because the team has always bounced back after a setback and shown a lot of character. Can you see the team potentially going on beating the rest of the season?
We have done it after Brentford. We have done it after City. So we are capable of it, but now we have to show it again. And it's not. Don't think too far ahead. And we have to think about game by game, and that is so the base of our success.
Owen Style Advisor's back and says, you look great, but take this £5 to Primark and buy a new wardrobe if you're unhappy with my methods. Well, look, my style advisor, who shall remain anonymous. I'm more than happy with your methods, clearly. It's clear, because I wear the same clothes all the time, because I don't have many. But yeah, maybe we should do a Primark shopping trip. I still said at one point that I'd more than happy go like trainer, sneaker, wherever you are in the world, shoe shopping with Flex, because that's Flex's domain. He buys a new pair of trainers practically every week. It's insane. And enters raffles. I didn't even know there were raffles. For shoes, come on. I had no idea about anything like that. I've got like 3 pairs of trainers. That's it. Yeah. Function. Yeah. Over look. It's all about, do they fit on your feet? Are they comfortable? Do they not get wet when it rains? Yeah, no problem. Fine. Yeah. No problem. So, but I'll be willing to do that in the future. I mean, I'm still waiting as well for KG and Flex to cook me Nigerian and Jamaican food respectively. They still haven't done that yet. There's still plenty. There's still plenty of content to come in the future. Let's get through the last couple of questions here. The first to Lisandro Martinez saying, could United challenge for the Premier League title next year?
For sure. We have really good players. We are Manchester United, and Manchester United demand to win every trophy. So we have to work hard, what we are doing now. For sure, we have to go game by game. We have to believe, and we have to fight for every title.
Indeed, we have to believe and we have to fight for every title, and we still can do that this season. Maybe not the Premier League, but certainly the other cup competitions that we remain in. And finally, to Ten Hag, the question was, did you speak? You spoke about having a conversation with the officials in the Premier League regarding the decisions. Was that after the Southampton game? And if so, what did you say and what was their response?
No. I just comment on some decisions. And it was clear about Casemiro. It was the handball. It was a penalty situation with Rashford. It was a penalty situation probably with Bruno. It was the fall and a bad injury on Garnacho. So there were some decisions you can discuss about it. But now it's gone. It's now I look forward to next game and tomorrow can focus on that.
Austin Baker says, LOL, KG's hate along just started. What, he was 6 minutes late? This is the guy that says he's never late, by the way. He said, I'm never late. I'm never late, apart from all the times which you're late. You're a disgrace. You're a cheat. But yes, if you haven't already, you can go join KG on his channel. Watch, hopefully, Liverpool go out of the Champions League. Of course, they're 5-2 down against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. They'd need some miraculous comeback. Anything's possible as well. So you never know. But if you don't fancy joining KG for the hate along, or you can make a note of this, a mental note for later on. You can still watch the preview for tomorrow's Europa League clash. That's up on the channel. You can also watch Flex crash the Benito Villamarín Stadium, Real Betis' home ground, ahead of the game tomorrow. Really informative, real in-depth, a behind-the-scenes look at the stadium. It's very, very good. It's excellent. And, of course, you can watch The Red Room with Marcel and Mina. That was live this past morning at 9 a.m. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. Oh, was that a save? Oh, disgrace cheat. Anyway, I'm out of here. Hopefully to see Liverpool go out of the Champions League. Thank you lot for joining me. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, and I'll speak for you again very soon. Peace.